Okay, pasok tayo sa scientific method in question document examination. First, meron tayong tinatawag dito na analysis or recognition. Dito sa analysis and recognition ay kabilang dito yung properties or characteristic na naoobserbahan natin sa isang document and even yung measured kung paano natin masukat yung isang document. Pangalawa is yung comparison. Comparison, this is the properties or the characteristic of the unknown. Determined thought analysis are now compared with the familiar or recorded properties of the known items. So, pagkukumparahin mo lang yung alam mong items sa binigay sa'yo na dapat i-examine. And last is the evaluation. Siyempre, after the examination, lagi may evaluation. Kung ano ba yung pagkakaparehas at pinagkaiba ng bawat properties or ng characteristic ng isang document. So, this is the similarities or the dissimilarities in the properties or the characteristic will each have a certain value for the identification determined by its likelihood or occurrence. So, the weight of significance of each must therefore be considered. Okay? So, in the scientific study of signatures and handwriting, we learn the basic facts and then nire-reason natin carefully and logically from these facts according to na-establish natin and na-recognize natin yung mga rules in order to form para makabuo tayo ng ating opinion or even yung conclusion. So, as to whether a question signature handwriting is genuine ba or na-forge. Okay pa. Next is the preliminary examination of document. This preliminary examination of document, babasahin na lang siya ni ma'am dahil more on basa lang naman to, tanong lang naman to. Pagdating sa principal points, ayan, mga question and answer lang naman to. So, it is initial examination conducted on a document to determine whether it is a genuine or not. It is not a misnomer, for in a reality, it consists of painstaking analysis. So, more than looking for a document and expressing an offhand opinion. So, first is the importance of the preliminary examination of question document. So, meron dyang erasure preparedness. So, tama ba yung gagawin at handa bago tayo magbura, no? Para maiwasan natin yung pagbubura. And next is avoidance of delay. So, syempre, pag yung document is na-delay sa pagpasa, yun nga yung sinasabi ko, may tendency na pati yung mga ink, 'di ba, bago pa natin ma-examine is mahirap na kasi tuyo na. Then pangatlo is they ensure success of this case. So dapat expert yung mag-e-examine, kasi kung hindi expert, talagang magiging pangit yung magiging result or conclusion ng isang question document examination. And next is the principal point. Ito ay hindi ko naiisa-isahin, pero mga question lang naman to para tanungin ang isang document kung genuine ba to or na-forge ba to. For consideration in preliminary examination of the question document. So, this question is not applicable in every case, ha? So, papakita ko na lang yung mga question na to sa inyong notes. Marami tong question na to mga nasa 20 plus to. Okay po. So, hindi na natin iisa-isahin yon dahil nga naman hindi applicable ang bawat tanong na yun sa different cases. And pangatlo, who conduct the preliminary examination? Sino ba nagkakonduct ng preliminary examination? Yes, tama. Laging ang question document expert. Next, who is the question document expert? Sino ba sila? Question document expert is one who has attained the appropriate education and training, and they have a sufficient knowledge on the technical, scientific, and legal aspect of the document examination. And third is a broad experience in handling question document cases. So, nakapaghawak na siya ng mga kaso. Okay po. Next is the reason for utilizing a question document expert. So, assurance of the preparedness kabilang dito, and also yung trial ni fiscal or ni judge are infrequently confronted pagdating sa document cases. So, they do not possess the knowledge of document. So, the expert, sila yung may ability of a various method that exists to determine, para ma-determine ang mga forgeries. So, also, avoidance the offhand opinion. Kabilang din dyan. Ano? So, offhand tayo ng offhand. Ano ba yung offhand opinion na yan? Offhand opinion is usually a conclusion that is not based through the scientific examination. Not based through scientific examination. Pero pag opinion, that is the conclusion of the document examination. Question document examiners. So, what is the danger? Ano nga ba ang danger ng offhand opinion? So, the danger of the offhand opinion, it has happened in some cases that an offhand opinion has sent an innocent man to prison. So, while a murderer was given a chance to escape. Next, pasok tayo sa mga techniques and aparatus na magagamit sa question document examination. Instrument and apparatus used in the question document examination. First, we have the magnifying glass or magnifying lens. The magnifying lens, a bank personnel and other people involved in a currency examination usually use the ordinary hand lens, the maximum diameter of which is 4 inches, and this appears big with its wide frame. It has a magnifying power for 2 times the original only. So, magnifying lenses of a 5 times are more magnifying power with a built-in lighting are more useful. Next is the shadow graph. Shadow graph is a pictorial image formed by casting a shadow, usually of the hands, upon a rightful surface or screen. Okay? And the third is the stereoscopic binocular microscope. So, it's a 3-dimensional enlargement. So, 3D. Tandaan, 3D lang yan. Next is the measures and test plates. The transparent glass, kung tawagin. Ano po? So, those used for the signatures and typewritings. And next is the table lamps. So, table lamp with adjustable shades or the gooseneck lamp. Dito, they used to control for the illumination. So, kailangan ng side light sa examination para yung light is ma-place siya with a low angle in position. Para oblique, no? Para naka-oblique siya. Next is the transmitted light gadget. Ito, madali lang to. Usually, ito yung ginagamit. So, a device where lights come from the beneath of the behind glass on the document is placed. So, behind the glass, parang nakapatong lang siya sa transparent glass para makita mo yung original sa hindi. So, parang, alam niyo yung sa sisiw, yung kinakailangan pa nating i-view sa liwanag, no? Ganon. And next is the ultraviolet lamp. So, ultraviolet lamp naman, this is usually used in the detection of the counterfeited bills. Mga bills to ha. Diba nakikita nyo? Pag nag-grocery kayo, yung 1,000 nyo nilalagay pa sa UV lamp. No? So, can actually be used to detect the security features of a qualified documents. Next, we have dito, pagdating sa bills, may pag-aaralan tayo sa bills and yan yung magiging isang activity natin this next month rather. Next, the infrared viewer. Infrared viewer is primarily used to decipher yung handwritings ng charred document. Yung charred document, yun yung nasunog na document. Okay? And last is the comparison microscope. Pag naririnig nyo lagi yung comparison, dapat nandito yung authentic document para makita nyo mismo kung ano yung pinagkaiba nilang dalawa. Okay? Next is the techniques in the examination of the question document. Techniques in the examination of the question document. First is the microscopic examination. Dito sa microscopic examination, this is an examination or study which is made with a microscope in order to discover the minute of physical details. Diba sabi ko nga yung minute or minutiae, yung maliliit. So, the stereoscopic examination with a low and high power objective is used para ma-detect yung retouching, patching, and also yung unnatural pen lip. Kasi di ba pag tayo nagsusulat tayo, yung pen lip yung biglang inaangat natin yung ballpen. Kapag natural lang, syempre handwriting natin yon. Pero kapag ginagaya natin yung isang gagayahin nating sulat, di ba naaaksidente tayong natataas natin. So, halatang halata yung unnatural pen lip kapag ginaya lang natin. So, with the proper angle and intensity or the illumination, it aids a decipherment of erasure, some minutiae manipulation, but not perfectly pictured to an aid eye, and the sequence of entries done by different writing instrument. So, syempre, hindi basta-basta nakikita ng ating mata, bagkus ginagamitan din yan ng mga different tools like yung magnifying glass, yan. So, that's why microscopic examination yung kinakailangan. Cannot be seen by our naked eye. Next, we have the transmitted light examination. Dito naman, in this examination, the document is viewed with the source of illumination behind it and the light passing through the paper. So, the documents are subjected to this type of examination to determine yung presence ng erasures, matching, or yung serration, and some other types of alteration. Now, mas makikita dito sa transmitted light. Next, the oblique light examination. Sinabi ko na din to. An examination with the illumination. So, pagko-control lang to ng grace or ng strike ng surface of the document from one side to a very low angle. So, the decipherment ng mga pag-fade ng writings para ma-determine yung outlines, para matrace yung forgery, and even yung mga embossed impressions, no? Yung mga madidiin magsulat. They are subjected to this type of examination. And next, pang-apat, is the photographic photographic examination. So, this type of examination is very essential in every document examination. So, the actual observation are recorded in the photographs. So, mas maigi nga naman, di ba, lahat naman ng evidence na nangyayari sa isang crime scene, pinipicturean mo na. Ganon din dito sa question document examination. Syempre, kailangan din ng proper photographic skills pagdating dyan. Ano po? Next, the ultraviolet examination, na sinabi ko na mostly, ang ina-examine dito ay yung pera. So, ultraviolet radiation is invisible and occurs in the wavelength just below the visible blue-violet end of spectrum. So, these visible rays react on some substance so that visible light is reflected. A phenomenon known as the fluorescence. So, di ba yung UV lamp, bakit sila ginagamit? Kapag nilagay yung pera doon, di ba, may makikitang ibang substance na biglang lumilinaw. Pero kapag sa simpleng light lang, hindi lumilinaw. So, yun, ginagamitan siya ng UV or ultraviolet examination. And last is the infrared examination. Huwag kayong malilito kay ultraviolet and kay infrared. So, the infrared, this is the examination of document, employs invisible radiation beyond the red portion of the visible spectrum. Kung dito ay blue-violet ha, hindi violet. Blue-violet, dito ay red. Red portion naman siya sa visible spectrum. So, which is, nire-record niya yung mga, especially yung synthesized photographic emulsion. Okay po. And next is, hindi na natin papasadahan yung photography and question document examination purpose of photographs. Hindi na natin yan isasama. Dito na tayo sa miscellaneous examination. Miscellaneous in miscellaneous examination, erasures, indented writings, and even yung burn or charred paper and adding machines kabilang dito. First, we have the erasures. Erasures, one of the common inquiries in question document is whether or not an erasure was actually made on a document. So, in cases like this, the following examination are made. First is yung physical inspection. So, using yung mga ultraviolet light, observation with the light striking the surface of a sharp angle, yung mga oblique, and the other observation under the microscope may be considered. Kasari din yun. And next is the fuming with the iodine may cause an almost negligible stain, but in the most instances, this is not a slightest semblance of a stain remains. Okay? Next is the indented writings. So, indented writings is a term usually applied to the partially visible depression. So, appearing on a sheet of paper underneath yung sa ilalim ng papel natin. So, the one which the visible writing appears. So, kapag madiin ka magsulat, nakikita dito naka-emboss sa ilalim ng papel mo. So, this depression or indentation are due to the application of pressure on the writing instrument and would appear as a carbon copy if a sheet of a carbon paper had been properly inserted. So, indentation may also appear on a black sheet of paper if such is use of the backing sheet while typing out a message on a typewriter. So, dito, sa indented writing, di ba may carbon paper tayo? Alam niyo yung mga nagwe-wetting, di ba may carbon paper para makopya, no? Original document pa rin yung tawag dun kahit, gumamit ng carbon paper. So, a physical method may be used by passing a strong beam of nearly parallel light almost horizontal over the surface of the paper. Next, the fuming document may be of values in some cases, and the powder of the various kinds may be used without changing the document. So, yung mga ginamit na powder is considered then. And next is the burn or the charred paper. So this is a piece of paper may be subjected to the action of a limited amount of heat, causing it to become a scorch and retaining to a certain amount of its identity, or it's may be subjected to intense heat, no? So nasunog, although yung gilid, even yung infrared can examine the charred paper po. So, however, if the combustion is incomplete, a certain amount of success may be realized provided the pieces are large enough to form a coherent message. Kung mahilig kayo manood ng mga mystery, ayan. Meron talagang masatyagang investigador na kahit sunog na yung papel, napapagtagpi-tagpi pa rin. Ano po? Next is the adding machine. Adding machine, sorry sa sulat ni ma'am ha, sobrang pangit. Kahit yung ballpen ko, hindi na rin nakikisama, naglalag na rin talaga. So, adding machine, this is the construction of adding machine differs greatly from the typewriter, but the methods and yung principle of identification are parehas. They are also related. So, manufacturers use different type of numerals and form time to time to change their design. So, yung spacing between the columns and also not standardized para sa lahat ng machine. Ano po? So, those factors are from the basis to determine the make of the machine and for estimating the period in which it was built. So, another kind of approach is the ribbon impression. So, for the ribbon, it is made and operates very similarly to the typewriter. So, yun yung another kind ng impression. So, tandaan lang natin na ang adding machine are not alike and they are technical case study that leads to discovery of identifying factors. Factors lamang. Next, punta naman tayo. This is very important. No? 3 na lang. Importante to para mapasa natin yung question document. So, hindi ko na to i-discuss ng sobrang lalim, but I will tell kung paano ba i-handle ng tama yung mga documents or yung mga question document natin na yan. So, a care of disputed document and documentary evidence. It is basic requirement that when a document becomes disputed and deposited in court or with the attorney, in order to maintain its original condition, it should be kept saan? Dapat unfolded yan and nakaseparate yan and nasa proper size siya ng envelope or ng folder. So this is true not only for the disputed document but for many other important documentary evidence. So dapat hindi gusot, nalalagay ng maayos sa mga proper na lagayan. It is also advisable that right after the document becomes disputed or questioned, it is important to make not only the usual photostatic or the Xerox copy, but also a proper photograph or photo enlargement done if possible by the document expert or under the supervision of the document expert. So, dapat kahit natukoy na yung document ay disputed or peke, dapat hindi lang siya basta i-Xerox. Kailangan din yung ng photo enlargement na gagawin ng photo document examiner or with the help of the document expert. So next, when working in the preparation of the cases, it is often necessary for the lawyer or yung korte to handle repeatedly the disputed document. They should this be necessary instead of handling and working with the original document. The photograph should be used. So, dapat hindi yung kapag may hearing, hindi dapat yung original yung nandun. Dapat yung Xerox pa din po. So, every touching, folding, refolding, or pointing to certain parts of the document can change the physical condition of the case. So, for example, nahawakan mo to, mamasa-masa yung kamay mo, no? So, it can create smearing in the ink. So, pointing out with pencil, pati yan. It can leave marks that create a suspicion of a previous pencil marks of the experiment as proof na maging attempted forgery yun, no? So, kung nasa korte ka, paduro-duro ka dun sa original paper kasi pinapakita mo nga kay judge, is maging reason pa yun, no? Para maging attempted forgery. So, pointing a document with any other instruments such as sharp stick can cause slight damage which although it cannot be seen by the naked eye, but it can show definite marks under the microscope or an enlarged photograph. So, kahit yung natusok mo ng aksidente, no? Kahit hindi kita ng mata yung pagkakagusot, is pag gumamit tayo ng different machine, mas nakikita yon. So, again, no test should be made to alter the condition of the document. For example, the old-fashioned ink test, which was used to determine the age of ink writing. So, yung mga lumang pagdetermine ng document, hindi na natin yun ina-apply ngayon dahil nga advanced na din po tayo. May mga different machines na tayo para dyan. Huwag na tayong gumamit ng old-fashioned test. Okay? And last, it should any test be necessary, insist that it should be done in the presence of the chemist or in a court or in the front of both parties involved the cases. So, dapat yung document is hindi document examiner lang yung nakakakita ng bawat examination na gagawin. Pagkus dapat may mga witness pa rin, ano? Pwedeng ipakita niya sa korte with the front of the chemist or even yung both parties na nagrereklamo at sa nirereklamo. Next, tungo naman tayo sa do's and don'ts in the care, handling, and preservation of the documents. Pasok tayo sa do's. Ano dapat yung ginagawa natin sa document? So, first, take disputed papers to document examiner's laboratory at the first opportunity. So, dalhin agad sa laboratory ng document examiner. Pangalawa, if storage is necessary, keep in a dry place away from excessive heat, strong light. So, ang talagang kailangan itabi, no? Sa dry place and wag naman yung sa medyo may sunlight or even sa mga wet places. So, i-maintain yung consequential document na hindi matupi, yan, and in transparent plastic envelope or evidence preserver. So, mas okay daw na nasa transparent envelope yung document. Kasi nga naman, ay plastic, nakikita pa rin. So, don'ts naman, sa don'ts, do not underscore, make careless markings, fold, erase, impress rubber stamps, stickers, write on, or otherwise alter any handwriting. So, ayan, very common na yan ha. Basta, hindi mo papakialaman yung mismong original. Hindi mo nagagalawin. The more na igalaw mo pa, the more na bitbitin mo pa, yan, magkakaroon or magkukos pa yan ng attempted forgery. So, do not smear with fingerprints powder or chemicals. Do not carry handwriting document carelessly in wallet, notebook, or a briefcase on grounds of interviews. Huwag din basta-basta ilalagay kung saang storage. So, also, do not handle disputed papers excessively or carry them in a pocket for a long time. Kasi the more na nakatabi lang yan, dahil sobrang importante niyan, ilalagay mo sa bulsa mo, okay, magkukos pa yan ng paggusot-gusot and additional examination pa dyan na maaring makita ng document examiner na maaring yun pala yung maging dulot, yung isang specific na pagkakatuping yun pa yung maging dulot kung bakit naging disputed document yun kahit nakatabi lang sa bulsa mo. Okay? So, do not mutilate or damage and do not allow anyone except, wag niyong papahawak kahit kanino, basta sa qualified specialist lang or yung mga document examiner, dun ka lang din magpapakonsult, ayan, sa kanila lang. Okay po. So, yun lang naman. And the last is kung paano i-handle yung charred documents. No? Okay, how to handle yung charred documents. Last na to And done na tayo sa chapter 3. So, first, those extremely fragile must be handled as a little as possible, and transporting them to the laboratory requires extraordinary care. So, with further thought and caution, they can be brought from the distant fire scene to the laboratory. And next, they should be moved in the container in which they are found whenever possible. When the fragments are not packed tightly, they should be padded with lightweight absorbent cotton. So if jarring cannot entirely eliminated, jarring the box must be kept to a minimum. And last, thus every precaution must be taken in handling and transporting the charred residue in order to prevent yung mga large pieces from becoming unnecessary and maaari pang masira. So the fragment must be firmly without crushing to prevent the movement or also shifting when finally packed in a sturdy container. So yun lang naman medyo mahaba ang ating chapter 2, but kung may hindi man na iintindihan, ulit-ulitin lang, and kung may tanong is mag-PM lang po. So yun lang mga anak. And that consists our chapter 2.